You've said something and I brought back a memory from high school. I'm going to be sharing things I shouldn't be sharing. But one thing I feel like that needs to change on top of like being sustainable, the language around period and the shame associated should change, because it's like, why is it shameful for a normal natural body process? Why is it shameful? Because there's this language of, oh, in that time of the month, or you were unclean, or all these other things that are put out there that I don't think are helping, and I find them very harmful. The reason why I'm bringing up this point is, I remember in high school, I went through several high schools. So one of my high school was like a mixed boarding school, and then one time a chick had her periods in class, and then she stained, and then a group of boys decided to laugh, and these were like 18, 19-year olds, because they were not like young people. So when that happened, I remember the punishment they were given was their hair was shaven, like they were shaved like bald, kama kipara. And that was a big punishment in that school, because everyone valued hair in that school. So I was like, if in this scenario where people have gone to school who are educated, you still find people who are going to laugh over something as small as a period. I want to imagine the stigma that goes down in like two villages, or like informal settlements, or people who are not as educated as we might be. Welcome to Bodies and Beyond. This is Bodies and Beyond. Me and my co-host have a sort of working arrangement where we'll be recording virtually, but you still get to hear both of us. I hope you are audible enough. If there are issues with sound, if there's a bit of a lag, it's an online recorded episode, so just bear with us. We'll be in the room in the near future, and we're working on something. Just know we're working on something. So today we're going to be speaking about menstrual hygiene, period poverty, and how, from my perspective as a man, how men get involved. Weni, what are your thoughts on period poverty? Just issues around, or conversations around menstrual health.
Another one I wanted us to discuss is, and I think this is going to be my, what do they call the icebreaker question?
Yeah.
If you had the power to design a menstrual product, let's say maybe a sanitary pad, what are some of the things you'd include that you feel like are missing?
That is a very good question. I'm a man. I'm a man, so I don't think I know much about it, but I think I would prioritize comfort, because hey, I think sometimes there are rashes that people develop especially there's a time when Always was giving rashes. So I want to believe I would want to prioritize like comfort, something someone can exercise in, like just move fully through that day without like the fear of, oh, I might have a leak, or it might slip. Something. Hey, that is like my rough idea.
So for me, I think I would also go with comfort, because I feel like most of these sanitary pads, when you wear them and they're like soiled, and for some people they have heavy periods, so you don't even take time before they're soiled, and it's really uncomfortable, like very uncomfortable. Some of them are very heavy, and then you also get what do they call this thing? Okay, you just start feeling itchy, like you've explained, and it's really, really bad. And it's just, because I feel like when you're on your periods, for most people, for me personally, I'm just in bad moods for some reason.
It's a very trying time. Like
happens,
hormones are all over the place, and then plus now this thing is uncomfortable. Hey.
Yeah, so you're just irritated for some reason, and then now it's really uncomfortable, and you just feel even worse. So I'd probably prioritize comfort, but I would also go for sustainability.
Yeah.
I know most of the time we assume that because a sanitary pad is 60 shillings, everybody can afford it, but that is not even the reality out there. That people can't afford these things, and we're not even talking about young people. There's like even people like married women in families, they can't even afford to buy sanitary pads every month.
Yeah.
They have like a family to, maybe they have the money, but the priority is feeding their kids as opposed to buying pads. And I think I would go for something sustainable. I think we've already seen some of those products where they design reusable pads, you can wash them and dry them. I would go for something sustainable that even if you don't have money every month, you can still be able to use these things. I was actually reading a story, and it was, I think, it was more of a survey to women, and the story said that 4 out of 10 girls miss school every month due to menstrual periods. So they're not able to go to school because they either don't have the products or maybe the stigma around it, and they can't just show up in school. So they just stay home for the maybe 3-4 days and then go back to school. So that's like a lot of time wasting.
Yeah.
And to think that this is happening probably like 2025 when everybody thinks we've moved on from some of these things, it's very, very embarrassing. So I'd go for something very sustainable but also cheap. I think accessibility and sustainability would be my go-to, but also something very comfortable.
You've said something and I brought back a memory from high school. I'm going to be sharing things I shouldn't be sharing. But one thing, I feel like there's that needs to change on top of like being sustainable. The language around period and the shame associated should change, because it's like, why is it shameful for a normal natural body process? Why is it shameful? Because there's this language of, oh, in that time of the month, or you're unclean, or all these other things that are put out there that I don't think are helping, and I find them very harmful. The reason why I'm bringing up this point is, I remember in high school, I went through several high schools. So one of my high school was like a mixed boarding school. And then one time a chick had her periods in class, and then she stained. And then a group of boys decided to laugh. And these were like 18, 19-year-olds, because they were not like young people. So when that happened, I remember the punishment they were given was their hair was shaven, like they were shaved like bald, kama kipara. And that was a big punishment in that school because everyone valued hair in that school. So I was like, if in this scenario where people have gone to school who are educated, you still find people who are going to laugh over something as small as a period. I want to imagine the stigma that goes down in like two villages or like informal settlements, or people who are not as educated as we might be.
I feel like there's also, as I've spoken before, I feel like there's little information, because even when we talk about menstrual hygiene, in as much as we're talking about sanitary pads and menstrual products, we're also talking about access to clean water where you can probably wash yourself after. We are talking about
disposal.
Yeah, and clean water is like very important. Sorry?
Ways of disposal still.
Yes, totally. Ways of disposal. Like we assume just because you're maybe in Nairobi, you assume everyone has access to a flushable toilet and have those bins where you can dispose of your parts, but not everyone has those. And now you can imagine the situation outside where people are not even able to afford these products. They don't even have ways of disposing them off. So when you talk about it, it's a whole spectrum. It's just like a whole conversation, but we just focus on one thing. And I want us to like talk about it all. And when you mentioned something around when you said about shame and now when you spoil your clothes and people just want to laugh at you back or something of the sort, and it just got me thinking. I feel we have not even normalized this conversation enough, because even when you go shopping, and I was talking to someone about this, and they said even when you go shopping and maybe in a supermarket or something, and you buy these sanitary pads, they normally wrap it like they're wrapping suji what. You see, like it's not like the same way you'd buy a tissue or wipes wataziacha tu hapo, but sanitary pads watawrap na gazeti 3, 4, 5, and you're like, this is a normal product that people use. even when you buy one in a shop, they won't give it to you like that. They just wrap it, and it's like, this is a normal thing. It's like the same way you go and buy a tissue, a packet of tissue.
I have another story.
But I feel like that is also part of the stigma, because in a future, you're not even supposed to see it. You're not supposed to speak about it.
I have another story. There was a time, there's this Kenyan artist. His name is Yaba. Go and check out Yaba. Please support Yaba. So Yaba had like this pads drive thing. So it was like, oh, we are collecting pads, and he was supposed to donate it somewhere. Now I didn't get like my pads early. If I would have gotten them penye nilikuwa nafaa kuzinini, I would have like singekuwa na the problem I had. So I walk into like the first quick match I see, and then I go and buy pads. Now me in my head, I'm not thinking it's a big deal. I just go to the checkout, and then I pay, and then I leave. I didn't even ask for like a bag to carry it. And then everyone is staring, and then in my head I'm like, kwani it's supposed to, and then I don't want to overthink it, because I'm like, it's just whatever pads. And then I'm like, okay, look normal, but everyone is staring at you if you're a man and you're carrying a pack of pads. And it's in the small. You spoke about caps at the beginning. I remember there was one time we did like one of those outreaches where we went to a primary school, and then we were speaking about the other options that different from the pads. And then there were girls like at the back who had questions. They were in primary, I think class 7 or class 6. So they had questions about like about the menstrual cup, and I think a tampon. And then the girl who was in front like could not be reached. So I was the only option that was close, and I knew I had information about it, but they felt like they could not ask a man. You could see it like in their faces, the way they were fighting it, And then I am like, okay, fine, I can teach you guys, Gingerly, of course, I'm like, hi, I can see you guys are curious. Do you want to learn about this? They're like, yes. But you see, they're very apprehensive. So I move close. I'm like, oh, this is how this works. You fold this, and then, this is how this and this goes. And then you see the other ones also leaning in because they genuinely want to know. So I think there needs to be more information about like the other options. And I don't know if they do work for everyone, because even for them, if there was that information, would it really be sanitary? So maybe just whatever works, yeah.
I totally agree. I think we should have all the information and let someone choose. Have the information about tampons, about menstrual cups, about the pads, and just choose what works for you, what is comfortable with you. And I think I saw this TikTok once, and this creator she was speaking to us about her experience with sanitary pads, and she was saying when she was in high school, she used to go to for shopping, and then the mom now just picks sanitary pads and azirusha tu kwa the shopping bag, and then like anamnunulia tu without even asking, and then she struggled because she used to get those short. Okay, no, I'm just I'm assuming you don't know. Okay, so
do your learning.
So there's normally the long sanitary pads and there's the short ones.
Yeah.
So she used to get those short ones, but she wasn't comfortable with those because those are actually even very easy for you to soil your clothes. So she wanted the long ones. So she said she didn't get those sanitary pads until the time she was, I think, doing Form 4 or something, and she went shopping by herself, and then she was able to get the ones she wants. So I'm just saying, in as much as we encourage and we do these all pad drives and whatnot, just let people have all the information, let them know what is available, and then let them choose what is comfortable to them. And I think I'm just saying to anyone, basically just anyone donating sanitary pads or whatever, just make sure, in as much as you're doing pad drives, you are donating sanitary pads to which school, to what kids, make sure you also tell them about other things. Because you said menstrual hygiene is just not about the pads, it's more than that. It's about having a clean underwear, having water to wash yourself, having a place to dispose of whatever.
Having enough, even having enough pads, like you can. There are people who will use one for like 7 hours. It's still supposed to go past a certain amount of hours, right? And you'll find people who will use one for like a long time because they don't have another one to change, So if you give them one, they might have to, or they might think it's something that is usable, or so there have to be solutions that cater for the different women or the different demographics.
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially if you're going to donate these things, just do something that they can use even when you're not able to do that every month, every other time. Donate something sustainable, and that's why I said I'm going for sustainability. Let's shift gears kidogo to talk about brands and also talk about taxes. I think there was this conversation during the finance bill 2024 that sanitary pads were being taxed. Okay, the ones that are imported to Kenya, right?
Yeah.
And they say they were doing that so that they can encourage local manufacturing of menstrual hygiene products, which is a good thing, they're having them locally, but still having taxes on menstrual products. What do you think about that?
I think it's insensitive because, like, I think, like it has been said before, it's like you can't tell us you're adding more tax onto something so that we make local brands more sustainable when there are no local brands to make sustainable. Are there enough even to begin with? How many pads do we know that are, like whatever in the country that are made in the country that work well? Are they number one? Do we have those products? One, do they really work for the average girl or the average woman? You understand? Because it's like there's a quality PR, there's a quality issue. This is something that goes into your body. Like this is something that you like accesses you like very intimately. So there's the question of, does it work well? Is it sustainable? And all these other questions. So I don't think it would be fair to tax, when we don't have other solutions for women.
Maybe I think it's really crazy, genuinely, because I feel like you can tax like so many other things. But if we're just talking, because even without taxes, and let's say, like right now, if the cheapest sanitary pad is 50 shillings, there's still like a huge population who cannot even afford that every month. And to be honest, I don't think you can even use one packet per month. You need more. Because some people have a heavy flow, you can't just use like maybe 2-3 sanitary pads every day. You cannot use one. One has 8 or 7 or 6, so it's not even enough. I think it's crazy that even without, like, people are not able to afford it as it is. So adding taxes and taxing these things is just crazy to me, because you can tax so many other things, genuinely. And I feel like we should just get to a point where sanitary pads and menstrual hygiene products, including tampons and cups, they're just very cheap to a point you can get whatever you want. I see people do this abroad, creators abroad. I watch lots of TikTok. Actually, my reference is just TikTok. Anyway, I'm saying I see creators all the time. They put like a whole drawer with different brands of sanitary pads, and I'm like, yes, this is what a normal Kenyan girl should always have. Have options. Have as many as you can. Not just you're struggling every month to even get one or two. I think it's just shameful, really, that we think of taxing those things. In as much as we want to encourage local manufacturing, which is totally okay, but how many brands do we even have that are locally made?
Yeah.
And another thing, until we get to a point where we're able to probably sustain our own industries to manufacture these products, we will be forced to import every single time. So the least you can do really is to just remove any kind of taxes on this product. You can always tax like a million things. I don't think sanitary pads should be one of those things.
Like it's already inaccessible. For us to try and make it more inaccessible, it's insane. And and it's like, I don't want to go into the whole convo of like the ones making the rules don't even use the things they're making the rules around. So I'm like, it's kind of defeatist if I don't. You get like where I'm going with that. I don't even want to go into that because there's a car.
I totally get. Can we not talk about brands? So let me start. There was this conversation about Always, and I think it was Always, and there was another conversation about soft care, and the conversation was about their sanitary pads, especially for Always.
Yeah.
I think they were dragged for a long time, and also soft care. People said
like what that dragging?
They were going to stop using them. People said they were going to stop using them. And I think the main conversation around it, and I think it was a documentary on NTV, and they just discovered that these people, whenever they're manufacturing their sanitary pads, they don't really tell people what material they use.
Yeah.
They don't disclose that to the population, and the material is not exactly how can I term it? It's not exactly good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to just get your opinion on that, because I feel like I have a lot to say in regards to this, and I feel like it's you see the same way they normally tell you on a pack of cigarette or alcohol that extreme consumption of this can cause this and this and this.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be those kind of information on sanitary pads and say this is made from this material. If you do this and this can cause this and this. Let's just give people all the information there is so that they can make choices on their own.
I would want to imagine for a product that does not want to get sued, they would have the product on the label, or it's common sense for most products. They're like, oh, this is what we have, so that they don't get sued, because someone can say, oh, I had a reaction from this, And the whole convo, even with that, you remember with the whole always thing, it was not even a thing of a team. It was happening to every woman. It was like the products that were being brought into the country were a bit substandard, and then the ones that you'd get in the other countries were good quality. And it's not only this product. I remember there was a time where there's this skincare brand. I will not mention names, but it's everywhere. It's hyped at the moment. But influencers were saying the packages they would get in Kenya were different from the ones that South Africans would get. Me saying that you people should now know where I'm going with that. Anyway, so to go back to that, it's like, yeah, it's those things. There's a carelessness when it comes to even with companies in this country. I don't even think it's around menstrual hygiene products peke yake, but there's a carelessness when it comes to selling to people in this country, especially with women. So with this particular brand, they thought they could get away with giving lower quality or second class quality things to this group, this demographic, while other people got better products. So there is that, and there's the thing of, I feel like they should tell us this is what is here. This is so that you know what you're putting in your body, because this is those are your most intimate parts. So I feel like someone should know, oh, this is what I'm putting, on. This is what I it goes into this. Yeah. So I feel like they should say.
I totally agree, and especially because it's a very sensitive part. You can't just put anything in there. Mm-hmm. So, and I've also had these conversations of, and I'm not going to say Kenyans. I think I'm going to say Africans getting substandard products, but everyone else is getting. There's also this makeup brand, and I saw people dragging them all over.
Yes, that's TikTok, one. And
that's also on Twitter and Instagram. I'm also not going to mention names, but they're being dragged because people are saying, if you use a makeup product, if you buy them when you're outside Africa, let's say maybe in the US or something, you get really good ones. But then when you come to Kenya, they're substandard, expired ones, and you're still paying so much money for it. I don't know why.
The name starts with a G. Let me give people whatever's pointers. The name starts with a G, but I will not mention names. Hey, I don't want to be sued.
Oh my god, yes, there was this conversation for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I don't know why this is just because everyone is paying money for something. Why not just give people just give them what they're worth? I don't think it's unethical really to do that. Why would you give some people substandard products and then give others the right product? I don't think it even works like that. But I think it's also unethical from the brand's perspective. Why do you even have these expired and not very good products? Why do you have them?
Why, if you aim to build a business, right? I would want to believe you to give people quality products.
Exactly. And I think if we are going to encourage maybe local manufacturing of sanitary pads and sanitary and menstrual hygiene products, which I would personally support, I think we should just have products that really speak to an African and what their wants and their demands are, and just address this back and forth of, oh, you're using this material and this and this. If you're going to have these brands and maybe this industry is manufacturing parts from within the country, let's just address our audience, which is basically Kenyans. So I don't know, but just the story just makes me sad genuinely. Because one of the brands I was actually using it a lot, and then I saw the story. People were dragging them. I was like, hey, and they have been a loyal customer. You guys, they have been loyal. Hey.
Anyway, I feel like this is we should be winding down because ni kama tukianza na wewe we will not finish. So your last words on this whole topic.
So me, I think I have a few. So the first one is when we say let's normalize conversations around menstrual hygiene and let's reduce the stigma or whatever, or just let's destigmatize conversations around menstrual hygiene, period poverty, and whatnot. Let's just talk about this from a broader perspective than we have been doing for a while. Let's just talk about the whole thing, not just pads. When you mention menstrual hygiene, people just think of pads and whatnot. There's just so much more to talk about than this. My second call to action would be to anyone doing the pad drives, donating pads, or just basically just talking about menstrual hygiene. Let's do more than that. Let's educate people. Research about other menstrual products like tampons, menstrual cups. Tell people everything, not just one thing. And if you're going to do these pad drives and whatnot, give people something sustainable, not something you'll give them this month and then next month they have nothing to show for it.
I think there's no better way to finish it. Beba pad yako proudly, there's no shame around menstruation. It's a normal process that comes with being a woman. So there's no shame around it. There's no being unclean and all that yapping, all that nonsense you hear. So I feel it's a natural body process and it should be, it's associated with childbirth. So why would there be shame around that? Why is there no shame around childbirth? Anyway, so that and whatever. If you can find a way to create a sustainable, like a way for girls or women to get pads sustainably, please, tap in. There's this chick, I had her on Adele Onyango's show. She's on, just go to Adele's YouTube, the She Walks series. There's a chick there who was building sustainable pads. Manufacturing, sorry. So you check that out and just do your research around that and then get back to us in the comments or tell us what products you use, the effects it has had on you, or what products you would recommend, or ways you feel like we can, help another person and all these things. Yeah. That is all the time. When any other thing you want to add on?
No, that's all. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us on this conversation. It's always a nice time to talk to you, Lionel. Yeah. I feel like we should just have an episode on when we just go and chat.
And rant. You have a lot to say.
Anyway, this was a great conversation. Thank you so much for this. And to our audience, from my side, I think I'd want to know what products you guys use and to comment to someone who's probably looking for something to try out. And basically anything about this conversation that touches your heart, I think, and just leave it in the comments. Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a nice week if you're listening to this during the week. If it's during the weekend, I hope you're having an amazing one. If it's next year, hey, we don't judge here. Bye-bye.